Penticton's real estate market stuck in neutral? Homes are taking longer to sell, and buyers have more options than they've had in years. If you're in the market, this kind of selection gives you time and leverage, and for sellers, patience, proper pricing, and a well-presented property are key right now. So let's dive into the stats and see what happened last month in the Penticton area. So the Penticton area is the South Okanagan, goes from Osoyoos all the way to Summerland, and also includes a little bit outskirts there of Princeton and the smaller communities there as well. So South Okanagan market update for the end of July. So the number of sales, the whole South Okanagan was 193 sales, slight increase over last year, 6%. Now the number of active listings in the area is 1,601, and that's also an increase over last year. And we're seeing that across the board. There's more listings than ever right now. Number of new listings that hit the market was 364. Number of sales volume we had was total was 123 million, and there's no real change there. So we had an increase in sales, probably just wasn't the higher end properties because there's no change there. Now the days to sell is a little skewed. It tells us we're sitting at 92 days to sell on average at 3 months, but you'll see in a minute here, there's one property type that's just completely skewed the market, and I'll show you that in a second. So, I mean, according to the stats, and it's just, it's just numbers that are spit out, right? It doesn't look into the actual data. I did that here, but yeah. According to the numbers, we're about 30% higher to sell than last year. Again, just over 3 months. But again, I'll show you why. If you have any questions about the Penticton real estate market, you're looking to buy or sell, I'd be happy to sit down with you and answer any questions you have. You can simply shoot me a text message to the number on the screen there, or give me a call. Now, let's start with the single family home market. So, number of sales we had in the single family home category was 84, slight increase over this time last year. And last year was a slow year, this year is a slow year. So it's hopefully, I know August is going to be a slow month. It typically is, no matter where you are in the Okanagan. It's just, people are on vacation, they aren't thinking about buying a home. You really have to buy or sell if you do have your home in the market in the summer. Or you're looking to buy, maybe you're looking to move to the area, get your kids into school, that sort of thing. You would really have to be buying. So August, I imagine, is going to be a slower month as well. But hopefully we'll start picking up again in the fall, which typically happens. Now, the number of new listings that hit the market, single family homes, 175. The amount of inventory total is 683 listings, and that's slightly higher than last year. Now, the benchmark price for a single family home in the Penticton area is $754,000, down about 2% since last year. Now, to give that a bit of context, so that'll get you a single family home here, whereas if you go a little further north, say Kelowna, the benchmark price for a townhome is around $750,000 right now. So that just gives you an idea of the price differences in the different cities in the Okanagan. Now, the days to sell a single family home right now, you're around 2 months on average. Now, that would be if you have your home priced properly to what the market is telling us right now. You're taking the advice of your real estate agent, and you're pricing, close or around what they're recommending, and you have a well-presented property. If it doesn't present well, hopefully you price it well in order to get it sold within the average of around 2 months. If not, it's going to sit a lot longer. If you can wait, fine. If not, you're going to have to lower your price there. So just keep that in mind if you are selling right now. Now, the list to sale price ratio right now is sitting at 95.8%, meaning buyers and sellers are negotiating on average around 4% off of the last list price. So there is some negotiations to be had if you are a buyer right now, and keep that in mind if you are a seller as well. If you have a slightly higher priced home and you're willing to negotiate, negotiations are around 4 to 5% off of that list price. Again, that's an average, really depend on your area, what home you have, where it's priced, but this gives you a good idea of what the market is doing right now. We're not 102%, list to sale ratio like we were 3 or 4 years ago, where the market was crazy. We're more in a normal market right now. Now, the months of inventory tells us we are in a buyer's market at 8 months of inventory. So in theory, nothing got listed at the end of July. It would take, in theory, around 8 months to sell off that inventory, which again, according to my little scale here, puts us into a buyer's market. Balanced market is between 4 and 6. You'd probably see a closer list to sale price ratio closer to 100, probably 98, 99% if it was more balanced, or closer to that 4 months of inventory. And the absorption rate, again, tells us we're in a buyer's market. We're at 12.3%. So if let's say you listed your home on July 1st, you had about a 12% chance in selling in that 30 days. So that's calculated by the sales divided by the total number of inventory, the total number of listings on the market, gives us 12.3%. Now let's dig into the townhomes. So number of sales we had in the townhome market was 27. Keep in mind the Central Okanagan is a very small area compared to the Central Okanagan, like Kelowna, West Kelowna, Peachland, and Lake Country. It's a lot smaller. There's a lot fewer townhomes there. So we had 27. It was a 28.5% increase over last year, but that's only six townhomes. So just to give you an idea there, if you're not familiar with the Penticton or South Okanagan, it's just a smaller area. The new listings we had was 35. Now the inventory, we're sitting at 136 townhomes on the market at the end of July. It's down about 18.5%. It's a little rare to see inventory down over last year, but that is the case here in the townhome market in the Central Okanagan. Now the benchmark price for a townhome, $511,000, down slightly over last year. Now, if you compare the benchmark price of a townhome, again, to say the Kelowna area, you're about $200,000 less for a townhome in Penticton than you are in Kelowna. Now, Kelowna, just keep in mind, Kelowna is going to be a little more skewed because there's a lot more and a lot newer townhomes there that are in the $700,000, $800,000 range. That will skew that benchmark price. But overall, the South Okanagan is quite a bit cheaper than the Central Okanagan. Now the days to sell, we're sitting at 89, which is a 68% increase over last year. We're sitting at 53. Now, again, this is just due to the lack of sales that the South Okanagan has in townhomes. So there would have been some townhomes that sat on the market for well over 100 days, probably closer to 200 days, which skews this quite a bit. And the condos coming up here, you'll see it way skewed. I looked into those numbers and you'll see that here in a second. And that's why it brings the total market overall was at 3 months. That's just because there's lack of sales in the area, and 1 or 2 townhomes maybe sat on the market for well over 100 or 200 days. So that's why there's such a big swing there. If you do have a townhome, you're probably around 60 days, just like the single family home category. You're probably around the 2 months mark on average to sell. And the list to sale ratio, if you are looking to buy or sell, the negotiations, you're around 3% off of that last list price. And the months of inventory tells us we're in a balanced market, but this really changes month to month, just simply due to the, maybe the lack of inventory that we have, or the lack of sales, or the low number of sales. So that's determined by taking the inventory itself, dividing it by the number of sales in that month. So that gives us the months of inventory. So if nothing was listed at the end of July, it would take about 5 months to sell everything off. And the absorption rate, we're sitting at 19.8%, and that's determined by the number of sales, which have increased a bit, and the inventory that's come down. Dividing those two by the sales by the inventory gives us the absorption rate there. So if you did list your townhome at the beginning of July, you had about 20% chance of selling, which is pretty good in the month of July itself. So condos, this is more of the fun market here. And no matter where you live in Canada right now, condos are a big talk. So the sales, we had to 36, 14% decrease since last year. Number of new listings in condos is 65. Inventory jumped almost 5% to 359. The benchmark price for your typical townhome or typical condo is 435,000. That'll get you a nice two-bed, two-bath, quite nice two-bed, two-bath condo. It'll also get you into the townhome market as well, into an older townhome. Very nice. You can get a three-bed, three-bath townhome even for that price. So keep that in mind. Whereas again, if you go further north to Kelowna, probably not getting a townhome for 435. You're probably getting a one or maybe a two-bedroom older condo in Kelowna. And though that price there for the Central Okanagan was down a little bit over last year, not too bad. The days to sell, this is the huge skewed market here for days to sell. 176 days to sell, 141% increase over last year, where we're sitting at, 86 is closer to what the average is. I looked into these 36 sales. One sale sat on the market, or one condo sat on the market for 1,400 days, and there was two others that sat on the market for 965 days. Those were like newer condos that were just taking longer to sell. So if you take out those three listings, you're sitting at 86, and there was a couple others that were over 200 days. So if you take those out, you're sitting around 63 days. So keep that in mind. If you see these numbers and you're like, whoa, that's why. I mean, if you have just a typical condo in the middle of the city in Penticton, it's not going to take you that long. As long as you're priced, accordingly and presented well, it's not going to take you 176 days. Just keep that in mind. Now, the list to sale price ratio is sitting at 96%, so a little bit better than other parts of the market. Buyers and sellers negotiating 4% off the list price. And the months of inventory, a lot higher than the townhome market. We're sitting at 10 months of inventory, which puts us pretty deep into a buyer's market right now. And according to what's sold and what's listed, the absorption rate, you're sitting at 10%. So if you listed at the beginning of July, you had a roughly 10% chance of selling in July. Keep that in mind if you are buying and selling right now. And if you are buying, this right here is my deal of the month. Now this is on South Main Street, 3333, South Main Street in Penticton. Now this is in a 55 plus community. So if you're looking to downsize, looking to move to Penticton, and you want to be in a more adult oriented community, and I say downsize without compromise, these are single family homes on one level. So they're perfect if you're looking for homes, looking to downsize from your single family home that has a bunch of stairs, and you just want to live a little simpler in a ranch style home, but still have the double garage, community feel, and nice landscaped property. This one might be it for you. So let's just look into the listing here. So this is the property here. So if you are right in the market right now, this one's move-in ready. It's vacant. There's been some updates you can see. These were built in the early 90s, 1992. But so there was updates done to the flooring at least. And this home itself is a two-bed, two-bath, just under 1,600 square feet. So you're not moving into a tiny condo. You still get some space. And again, it's all on one level. And the location here as well is a great location in Penticton on South Main Street. So you're right near the lake. So if you still live an very active lifestyle, the lake is a couple blocks away. You go swimming. And Penticton's a great area for if you are a very active person. There's a trail behind here. There's the Channel Parkway trail system that leads from lake to lake. It's awesome. There's lots of golfing you can do. It's a great area. Penticton's small too. Like I grew up in Penticton. It's a small community, around 35, maybe 40,000 people now. It hasn't really changed since I was a kid. And there's just not a lot of building to do. You can't build way out like you can like they have done in Kelowna. So if you like the small town feel and very active lifestyle, this one might be it for you. So it's listed at $725. So again, if you're downsizing from a single family home or you're moving from a more expensive market, this property could be perfect for you. I'll link it down below in the description. And if you aren't from the area and you're wondering what are the pros and cons of living in Penticton, check out this video right here.